We got Matthias Fredrickson, who says Ring of Power showrunners come out this week with a very short reply about the backlash. I'm actually impressed that the critics for once seem to be well informed on the rights issues. Iru Elavuvatar, bless ye. Sorry if I ruined that last part. I did not see their response, but I seen the Jennifer Sulky interview. That was a bunch of
yes, I read that
horrible fluff piece bullshit. So what somebody's gonna have to bring me up to speed. What did they say, and how are they aware of the rights issues? Because of course they're aware of the rights issues, but
well, Sulky interview was in Variety, and because the showrunners are the one tier down below her, they only got Hollywood Reporter.
I thought they just got a blurb.
So the only blurb I heard is that they said it's great that people are debating about it. I think that's the only positive thing I heard from them as a quote when I was looking at one of those articles.
Oh, that would be sweet, Andy.
Well, the shows are laughably bad. We're talking about there's not a single Disney effort so far. I have to say that is as bad as Rings of Power.
It is epic in its badness.
It's indescribably awful. I've never seen anything like it before. It's like an expensive film school movie, like the first scripts out of film school. It got a bunch of friends together.
Yeah, a bunch of friends together to write something that they know nothing about, and they have almost an unlimited budget.
Correct. That's what it feels like. It's like
no teacher to tell them that they're wrong.
Wow, it is so unmitigatingly. I've never seen anything like it. I really have not. It's so bad.
Okay, here evidently is what the super chat was referring to. The Rings of Power writers react to 5 criticisms of their show. So let's see here.
And hopefully none of them have to do with racialization, because that's not the problem with the show.
And just to be script, are you watching this or no? I can't remember.
Rings of Power? I'm trying to. I have to watch it in segments over 3 days before I get to review it with Nina Infinity on Sundays.
Okay, all right. So, all right, but so 3 of us have seen. Okay, all right.
I watched Hellraiser instead. The new one.
Dwarf wives in the ring of don't have beards. Okay, so that's an old thing. That's gone. That we're done. Like,
okay, well, their response was they actually do. It's not accurate. We looked at various versions of what facial hair on dwarf women would look like. There are beard hairs applied lovingly one at a time into Disa actress Sophia Namvet, and there are these sort of mutton chops on the side.
That's a year-old piece of controversy.
Yeah, she's now my favorite character.
Yeah.
And then Patrick adds in, I would go further to say that Tolkien himself, if you studied his entire body of work, has answered this particular question in both ways. There's a very strong argument to be made that dwarf women should have beards, and a very strong argument to be made that they don't. We're happy that with where we landed. So they went in the middle, basically, is what he's saying.
It doesn't matter. Elves don't have, again, this is the short hair thing. That was a brief bit of silliness that popped up when the initial Variety articles came out showing us Disa and I don't know the name of the guy, Don Lemon, elf.
Yeah.
Again, people brought that up. Who gives a shit? I don't care. If the show's good, then all is forgiven.
That's just going to say, yeah. And that's kind of the same thing with this, like you were just saying. Galadriel acts too masculine and she never went to Numenor. I would love to see Tolkien where it says Galadriel never went to Numenor. That doesn't exist. Second, one of her nicknames is Nerwin, which means man maiden. And third, she does not act masculine. Okay, then why did you just say that then? Also, the name Galadriel is loosely translated in Elvish as a maiden with a crown of golden hair, adds McKay. The reason she had a crown of golden hair is because when she would fight and do all sorts of sparring with other elves, she would braid her hair and put it up on top of her head to stay out of the way, So the etymology is the idea that Galadriel is a warrior. Where are they getting
you
this
missed
from?
questions above.
Huh?
You missed the one question above.
Where?
Galadriel actually masculine?
Go up.
Scroll up. Elves don't have shaved heads or short hair. You didn't address that.
I wasn't even reading that one. Yeah, we already said that has the same thing to do with this one. I bumped past it.
We did. We zipped by that.
We zipped past it because we're like, it doesn't matter. These two things here wouldn't matter if the show was good, is what we were saying. Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares on that? But
Galadriel, it's not so much her masculinity. It's just this overall thing in Hollywood where women to be strong have now been given masculine characteristics, as opposed to and completely getting rid of whatever it was that naturally makes a woman strong. Those things don't count anymore. They have to be more male, more masculine. And the other thing too is that she has this very narrow acting range, so she always looks like pissed off and mean and very anal with all her delivery. So is that part of the masculine experience?
I don't know. Well, I mean, they're kind of overlooking more of the nuanced arguments. It's not just that the things that you said are what people are saying, not just that she's too manly or anything like that.
Yeah.
The costumes look too new. I haven't heard that one. I've heard they look too cheap.
Yeah.
I certainly don't agree with that note. I think we are always talking about a lived-in world, says McKay, and we're always talking about adding breakdown to give costumes more one look. But also, that's not a bad shirt you got on. Is it new? I confirm my shirt is new. Guess what? Sometimes clothes are new.
They gave men moobs. They gave the men of Numenor moobs.
Now, this is a twisted version of this thing, because people were pointing out the cheapness of the costumes, and that's what they're avoiding. Yeah.
No, the costumes look unbelievably cheap.
The show's pacing has been slow. Payne says, I hope that people can key in for the journey. A lot of blockbusters have a breakneck pace where you're wheeled from one set piece to the next until it all collapses under its own weight. Okay. Tolkien will take his time and let you sink into the characters to a journey, and journeys can be hard in Tolkien. I hope people will have patience to settle for an See, this is what we were talking about before.
Characters.
Yeah, they misinterpret Tolkien's building and the way he describes things for just being slow. Peter Jackson saw through that, right? He's like, no. There's a lot of this, stuff about all these things, but what we have here is a bunch of story beats we have to hit within 9 fucking hours. And to get to those story beats, all these story parts have to be covered. So he takes all the stuff that Tolkien does to explain the world, and he just builds it in the picture side of it. And then he does everything he could to get all the story stuff in there as much. And he even had to leave some shit out, right? So that's what he's. So in the fact that he was able to stuff 9 hours of movie, out of that, and they can't even pull any kind of excitement out of the story, and then their pacing issue being, oh, well, Tolkien was slow too. No, he wasn't. It's only slow because that's the way you're reading it, right? That's the problem here. He was building the world. He's telling you, yeah, he may be explaining what every blade of grass looks like, but that's just because he wants you to know and what this world felt like, right? Like that's the thing.
The problem is that everything's a mystery in this show. In Lord of the Rings, the hobbits were assigned to get the ring back into the fiery pit, right? That was the main overarching goal. Right now, it's a mystery box. Galadriel is trying to go after Sauron, who apparently is gone, so they don't know where he is, and so she's going where, with whom, why, don't know. Then you've got those weird people who now just exploded all the Harfoot's carts. They took the ashes from their hands and then blew it, and then suddenly all their carts exploded into flames and destroyed their little endeavor. But they're trying to find the guy who's in that rough housecoat with the long hair that maybe is Gandalf. We don't know. So there's another mystery. Who is that guy who can, bring trees back to life. Is he bad? Is he good? He doesn't really talk to anybody. So he continues to be a mystery. We don't know where the Harfoots are going. We don't know why they're going. We don't know where Galadriel is going specifically. We don't know why that volcano just happened to blow up at the exact spot where the orcs attacked them. How did the Numenorians know to go to that one fucking village in the middle of this entire fucking south fucking world? And that's where they knew. Did they have a GPS or something like that?
Google.
It's like this one mystery after another, and they're not telling us what the solutions to any of this is.
Yeah,
I think it was MapQuest they had, because that's the Asian version.
Yeah, sorry for swearing, but
no, don't be sorry for swearing, man.
And then all these people survive this volcanic heated ash going through, and then the dialogue this morning.
I'm so glad I checked out of the show after 20 minutes.
It's not even consistently bad. It's always new levels of bad.
Yeah,
like it doesn't have a waiting pool of badness. It's like, oh, we're gonna get another 5 feet deeper with every new line.
And doesn't Galadriel have like underwear under that armor? Why is she continually in it? Take the shit off, for God's sakes. You know,
yeah, the battle's done.
Battle's done.
Drop the weight.
Drop the weight. I mean, carry it with you or do something. But you know, why are you walking around in the
because she's stunning and brave, Chato.
Sorry, you're right, Mike.
They're taking away her fake agency and her power.
And then the Numenorians are going back. Muriel is now blind.
I'll tell you who I'm not afraid of anymore are the orcs. I mean, if you go by rings of power, like they're like easy to defeat. You just, shit. They're not even a threat. At this point, I think I could make a ham sandwich, throw it in the wrong direction, they might chase it.
But Andor or Ardor or whatever the evil elf is called,
Adar
has now renamed the land
Mordor.
Mordor. That's what we need, are more doors. I want fewer doors. Just go
as much as I've ever heard Tom rant, and I've heard him rant about plenty of things in the last couple of years, if he was actually forced to watch this, I think he and Andre would. If Andre had made him watch this, he would be the rant of all rants.
It's really
it's awful. It's awful.
I can rant about it, and I haven't even seen it.
I can't watch this at night. I have to watch it in the day when I'm on caffeine because I have not been able to get through one episode without dozing off. Not one since this thing started.
Likewise.
It is so
Mordor will help you get your Z's.
And I've said before too, what amazes me is that in the Jackson movies, when you saw an expanse, it felt like an expanse. And he filled the screen with people or beautiful countryside. There's no expanse in this. Everything is these tiny set pieces all over the place.
Well, that's what I said about the 20 minutes I watched, Paul, was like, all of it felt like it was shot on a set. None of it felt like it was outside. No. Even when they were outside, it still felt like it were on a set. And then when I see the shit for that water scene, I'm like, I've seen better tank shots than Jaws the Revenge. Like, this is horrible.
It's really, we're going to send 3 ships to the Southlands. And then that's it. That's all we're sending. And then we're going to, and I thought all the soldiers got killed after the volcano exploded, but suddenly they came back to life and they're all heading back to the ship. Like, one of the guys died, the blonde guy, the guy who looks like Aston. Maybe that's who they did that on purpose. That guy, that Numenorian, he looks a lot like Aston,
like Sean Astin. Just to get revenge, we're gonna kill him. He dies. Cover him in Cheetos dust. Oh no, Mr. Frodo.
Yes, Doritos. We'll Dorito him.
Mr. Dorito Frodo.
The Dorito Frodo. That's right.
Renee, yeah, well, they did film some of this during COVID, but here's the funky part. They went to New Zealand to shoot this.
Correct.
And I'm still stretching to see what of this was shot outside. And I'm sure some of it was shot outside that we've seen, but I haven't watched the show, but I've seen clips, I've seen images. It all seems like it was shot on a fucking stage. Is that what they did? They went over to New Zealand to shoot it on a goddamn stage?
I'm sure they did that, but look at the scene, and I don't know how much of it was CGI, where maybe 3 or 5 of the of in Lord of the Rings, they were crossing the mountains, and there was just that wonderful helicopter shot, and you saw these peaks, and you just saw these 4 or 5 little black dots moving along in the snow, and you went, this is grandeur. There's only 5 characters in the picture, and they're really small, but the scope of it was breathtaking. And here they fill the screen with all these carts, these Harfoots that need hair conditioning products so badly, and it doesn't fill the screen.
Yeah, I don't either.
Oh, you have to copy and paste to fill the screen.
Well, yeah. The other thing that's really funny, if you watch it, or if you dare to go over the previous episodes, the way it's directed, there's always, in a scene where there's a conversation, someone immediately sits down on a rock or a bench, a chair, or a root, something.
Yeah.
Wow. Like someone's always sitting down. I'll just go over here and sit down on this.
It's like that gag from Family Guy where every single one of Peter Griffin's shots in his little public messaging thing is him putting his knee on a desk, and it's like there's a desk table in the middle of a soccer field, desk table in the middle of a hallway, just coming up there, lifting up his leg and resting it on, and his arm on his knee, and that's what we're getting in Rings of Power, just with logs and stones and steps and
yeah. You noticed it too.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of repetition in its cinematography and its blocking. The only thing I haven't seen yet, and I'm actually shocked, is the thing that I hate the most, which is when the camera rotates around the two characters as they're talking, and they do about 5 or 6 rotations.
Oh, geez,
constantly.
the Michael Bay?
Yeah. I don't recall that. I may have passed out at those points, but I don't recall seeing anything like that.
They had one in this episode.
So I haven't. Oh, great! So I haven't seen it yet, and they finally do the one thing I hate.
They had the turnaround. It didn't use it very much. It wasn't overdone, but I'm tired of people walking in and then one person sits down. Block it out so there's some action and people are walking back and forth and talking to each other, and the whole dwarf thing around the mithril, and no, you can't mine it, and oh my God, the mithril brought the leaf back to life, and then the leaf was tossed into the mithril pit, and at the very bottom it burned because there is the Balrog. And it looked so cheap when the camera pulled out to show the veins of mithril going through it looked almost as bad as the styrofoam rocks from TOS.
Yes, I agree with that. I think one of the things that's dramatically shocking to me is how inconsistent the look and the feel is between fabric of the outfits, the sets, the props, the costuming. There is an overall inconsistency that feels that it's almost like, okay, this group of people got a lot of money to do this. This people didn't get a lot of money to do that. These people got a little time to do this or that. There's an overall inconsistency. Watching this week to week feels a lot like going to an amusement park and jumping on different rides, that like the new ride versus the old ride versus the ride that's been out for a few years. It's literally that jumpy within the same 1 hour. And I think that's incredibly distracting to storytelling.
I would just like them to have mini stories complete within an episode.
Yeah. What you'd probably call like the B plot.
Yeah. Yeah, just get a B plot in there. And you can stretch things only so long. The guy in the night coat, you can't do that you can't have a mystery guy this long.
The other part too, which I also noticed, and I've been seeing this more and more in shows, is that other characters don't seem to have lives of their own. They're waiting for the main characters to come in and talk to them. They're not doing anything.
It's just not sitting around.
Yeah, they're just sitting around. It's not like, well, we have a whole bunch of villagers and they're wandering. It's like none of them are checking their provisions to see how much food they have left. None of them are farming. They're not doing anything. They're just standing there waiting for the main character to come in and say, hey, We got to do this. It's like, okay, it's without a life, and it's terrible to see that. I've seen that in far too many shows, especially in Rings of Power.